My aunt and uncle are paying for my cousin's college. My dad had a college fund for me, but he had stipulations like he wanted nothing below a B for grades and to pre-approve any classes I take, weekly meetings to discuss grades and a bunch of other stuff. Which would be fine if you have a normal dad. Mine isn't. My dad has a temper and I spent 6th 12th grade stressed out about grades and being screamed at or grounded over things that sometimes weren't even my fault, like a teacher not updating online grading and an assignment being marked missing because of it. And getting my backpack and locker randomly searched by him for no reason besides to make sure I'm not hiding anything. I decided to pay for school myself because of 1, not being stressed over getting screamed at, 2, I didn't feel like constantly worrying that he'd disapprove of a class or a grade and decide not to pay. Which I could totally see him doing. I'd rather be in debt than controlled for 4 more years. I just finished my first year. Well, my family got together on the 4th and, well, sometimes they're nosy. They were talking about my cousin's school and my uncle looked at my dad and said, well, how much is my name school costing you? I said, what are you asking him for? I'm the one paying for it. Later on my dad was pissed off and said that it was out of line to say that and I embarrassed him. I didn't do it to embarrass him, I was just being honest. He doesn't even know how much tuition is, so he was the wrong person to ask. Eta. Hello. Original post. new.reddit.com web link. Thank you very much for your insight. I appreciate all the comments and also the awards. I think that's very cool to receive. Some comments said to talk about it with my mom. I did and it went very well. She said sorry and said it was not my fault. She explained to me how it went and I will try to tell it as short as possible. Mom was very stressed because she never hosts dinners. She wanted her colleagues to like it. They requested the recipe. She forgot I don't eat peas because she was too busy with her colleagues. She wanted me to eat with them because at her colleague's house his kids also ate with them. She didn't want to make a fuss about my autism because sometimes I'm rude when people ask about it. She said her head was all over the place all evening. I said to her that that's why I could have made my own food. She said that was difficult because there was no time for that. I didn't realize because I'm not good with time awareness. I asked her to communicate with me next time and be more clear about what I can or can't do. She said she will and said I can help cook next time too. Almost every comment said that her boss was nice. He probably wasn't angry or upset with her. I told this to my mom. She said sorry to me again because she wasn't upset at me at all. She was embarrassed because she tried to get me to behave normally and she shouldn't have done that. She took it out on me on a whim. I also said sorry because I didn't realize that it could have been important for her work status. I just thought they were like friends. She said it was okay because I didn't make a big fuss and I didn't get loud or walk away. She's proud of me for staying at the table and also thinking about the ducks. We concluded that we both learned things. I learned things because I now know more about work dinners and manners. She learned things because she now knows to communicate and explain more to me to avoid stress. In the comments people also said her boss might have experience with autistic people. I asked my mom and it was a little bit sad. His little brother was autistic but he died 10 years ago. It made him sad because he loved him a lot. He told her I should eat things I like next time because it upset him to think Mom was worried about appearances so much that I had to be uncomfortable during dinner. He also said that dinner was really good and that he's happy to have her in his team at work. He's a good person and a good boss. I sent him a thank you email with my mom. Last thing is that I fed the ducks the peas. I think they were happy about it. The thing with ducks is that they don't say that to you, of course. I got an ice cream with 2 scoops at the pond. I also got one for my mom because I had money left. It was a little bit melted when I came home because it was 5 minutes walking, but she still liked it and she said I was amazing. Thank you for reading. Here's original post, www.reddit.com web link. Some stuff has happened recently and many of you have wanted an update on this. Appreciate the reassurance and understanding my decision when seems that many in this situation didn't. I remained firm in my decision about not letting them use my property for their wedding. Even if they changed their mind about inviting us, which honestly I don't care about anymore. Rick's family, thanks to him, Got a hold of myself so that was more people I had to deal with. I put my foot down with Rick a few days ago and told him directly that I will go to the police and press charges for harassment. I have all the texts and calls documented. Also had a very long talk with Carla about everything going on. She apologized for it all. And she knows it's her own fault. Well, she decided to be the one to call things off in the end. Some of my friends still seem to think it's my fault and I'm taking some distance from them for a while. And also from Carla after getting some confirmation on a few things that I needed to know. Whole thing is a mess. I'm only glad in the end that I didn't give in to their demands and the constant bugging has stopped. It still was a huge headache over the last few days and not the kind of drama I want back in my life. Thank you to everyone who made me feel supported in this. It helped a lot not feeling like the only other person, aside from my wife, who thought their demand was insane and inappropriate. At the beginning of quarantine, my friend Bella, F/30, proposed open marriage to her husband Mike, M/28. The timing was off, obviously, but she had thought about it a lot and she said it was the only way for her relationship with Mike to survive because she loved him dearly but felt unfulfilled. Mike hesitantly agreed because he didn't want to lose her. When I asked him about it, he seemed very much not thrilled about the whole thing. Backstory here is that Bella and Mike have known each other since middle school but only started dating in college, at which point Bella had a lot more experience in relationships. Mike has told me he's always felt like he was one step behind her in most things but that their marriage really worked and he was very happy with her. Well, during quarantine, the two of them became even closer than they had ever been before, and I think Mike didn't expect Bella to actually go through with the open relationship idea she had proposed. But around 3 months ago, she brought it back up and then settled on some rules together. Cut forward to an hour ago, it's way past midnight here, when Bella calls me crying saying Mike cheated on her. I'm all question marks at that point because Mike would never. She tells me she tried calling Mike all day but he said he had a date and hasn't come home yet. I asked her, but wasn't that sort of okay between you two? She sobbingly tells me that yes, that was sort of the deal, but that she hadn't been able to go on a single date with a guy yet because she was so busy with work being back on now, and that Mike just went ahead with his date as if she meant nothing, that he hadn't disclosed any details to her, which as far as I know was part of their deal, that they didn't want to know any details, and that she felt like he was ridiculing her. I didn't really know what to say and just told her, well, honey, I think you just reaped what you sowed, honestly. She's furious with me and screamed at me for being an awful friend to her, that I should understand how she feels. I kept quiet, but honestly, I think she's just upset that her husband is doing what she proposed in the first place. I haven't talked to Mike yet, but Ada? And #X200B. Edit, spoke with Mike just now. He said he had an awesome night but came home to Bella screaming at him and is feeling incredibly guilty and confused now, understandably. He'll come by afterward to talk. Edit 2, some people have asked for an update but there's not much to tell right now. Mike crashed on my couch for the night, we talked everything through and I told him I was on his side and dissuaded him of his confusion a little. I told him I thought Bella was being a hypocrite and that they really needed to talk this through. Unfortunately, Bella isn't talking to either of us right now. I've asked her sister to please go talk to her, and she just texted me Bella is being dumb as hell right now back. I hope they'll be able to have a proper conversation tomorrow. Mike isn't doing all that well with all this, understandably. My mom is getting married at the end of July. My daughter, who is 11, was going to be her flower girl. I know she's a bit old for the role, but she's the youngest granddaughter. Over the holiday, July 4th, we're in the USA, my husband and I both were on call, so my daughter stayed with my brother and his wife, who went over to my mom and her fiancé's house. While they were there, my mom bleached my daughter's hair without even asking me. We dye her hair semi-regularly with Arctic Fox, which is safe for kids. About a week ago we dyed it a very pretty blue. My mom detests unnatural hair colors and has been hounding me to fix it for the wedding. My daughter was fine with being a brunette for a little while when I asked. I was going to let her blue fade out naturally, then put a dark brown over it a bit before the wedding. I guess that wasn't soon enough for my mother. Obviously I'd never bleach a child's hair. But my mother in all her glory decided it was a perfect time to fix her hair for me. This woman used to be a stylist, over a decade ago, but she should know better. I am furious. Her hair is so dry and damaged, and the blue isn't even out. It's like this splotchy faded green, blue with spots of blonde. I don't want to put any product on it now because I don't want to risk more damage. The only good thing is she didn't touch the roots. I have an appointment Thursday at the salon I go to for her to try and fix it. I told my mom we won't be going to her wedding, which is causing a commotion. I've been getting a lot of "she's a control freak, it's just how she is, it's not a big deal, it's just hair" from almost everyone. I cannot believe my Sil, who's usually the best babysitter, let this happen. My brother says I can just fix it like it's so easy. My daughter hates her hair and expected a pretty bleach blonde like Billie Eilish, which is what her grandma promised her, not a faded mess. People are acting like I'm overreacting and that my mom's best intentions trumps my own parental choices. I know people already judged me for letting my kid have colored hair, they don't see how bleach is different. Edit. Hi everyone, I didn't expect this much feedback so fast. I can only reply on my breaks, but I've seen a ton of your comments and several private messages with hair advice. Thank you all for your recommendations. My stylist is very experienced with dye. I'll be discussing options with her, but it's good to have some experienced opinions. Thank you all. I'm really sorry I didn't tag this before. This post has really blown up, but anyway. Content warning, transphobia / and #X200B. My husband is a transgender man and we've always wanted to start a family together. I have a huge fear of pregnancy, so he offered to carry the baby. It was an insane process. He had to stop taking testosterone for a long time, but he was amazing throughout the whole process and I did everything in my power to help him feel more comfortable. None of my family know that he is transgender, homophobic, transphobic, all the phobics, but our friends know. He posted an ultrasound to his private Instagram, not knowing that my sister follows him on a burner account. Well, she saw the photo and told my whole family. They were furious that I wouldn't tell them. Our plan was to say we adopted. They assumed I was the one pregnant and blew up on me, so I just let it go and rolled with the lie because I wasn't going to out my husband. The first couple of months I let them visit. Eventually I'd start eating big meals and purposely bloating myself to the point of discomfort so I looked pregnant. They'd remark around the 6-month mark that I was remarkably small, but I just played it off. Eventually I couldn't lie any longer, so I looked for every excuse in the book to not see my family. I turned down the offers of baby showers, gender reveal parties, anything that would require us seeing each other. Luckily my family live an hour away and we all live busy lifestyles, so them randomly visiting wasn't an issue. The one time they did pop in unexpectedly, we were out of the house. If they fast-timed, I made a point to be in bed feeling horribly sick so I couldn't give a bump update. I lied my ass off and they just thought I had a rough pregnancy. My husband gave birth a year ago and went straight back on the testosterone, and now we're happy as ever. My family have met our daughter and they adore her. A week ago, after an argument between myself and a friend, said friend decided to out my husband by messaging my family and included proof. They did it by adding everybody to a group chat, posting screenshots and basically the whole story, then saying I'll leave you all to discuss. Then they left the chat and blocked me and my husband. In a transphobic rage, my mother raced to my home and all but beat my front door down. It wasn't pretty. I had to call the cops. I've been disowned, but that hasn't stopped the daily calls and texts coming from my parents, aunts, uncles, siblings etc., leaving nasty transphobic slurs on my voicemail and other hateful crap. I ended up crying to my friend yesterday who told me that I should have been honest with my family, as it would have saved me a lot of heartache. That, or said we miscarried and then adopted later. I'm not happy that things played out the way they did. I just feel so sad now. Maybe it was wrong to lie to my family, but I feel like I had no choice. Edit, because I figured I'd put this in the main text. My husband has always encouraged me to maintain a relationship with my family, however it was mostly for his sake. Personally, I mentally checked out years ago. But when they met him, they welcomed him with open arms and treated him like a son. Yes, it was conditional on him being presumed cisgender, however we never intended for them to find out. He felt a familial love that he's never had from his own family before, which is why I kept my relationship with my parents at his request. If it weren't for him, I most likely would have cut them off a long time ago. I'm sad that this has happened, but most of that sadness is for my husband rather than for me. Also, the friend in this story who outed him is obviously no longer a friend, and never will be again. The other friend who said I should have told the truth is on thin ice. Another edit: y'all are making us ugly cry. Thank you so much for the support.